he came and played, and I could barely talk to him. I was so shy and scared. But I never said anything to him. He doesn't even know that there was some silly little shy kid, waif looking at him going, oh my God, B.B. King.
Were blues the inspiration behind who you became as an artist, as a musical artist?
As a singer, partly. Not the typical blues singers that people are familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Big Maybelle was one. Annie Laurie, not the Scottish singer, but the blues singer. Little Miss Shapiro. Alberta Hunter. And Billie Holiday.
Of course.
I studied jazz when I was in a rock band, a cover band. I didn't do well in cover bands. And some of my friends tease me and say, see, Cyn, if you did well, you'd be up to cruise ships by now. But, I can't swim. It won't happen. But I think that I was blessed to have wonderful teachers. I studied with Betty Scott, who taught me singing from an ear perspective, a different kind of an ear, a natural singing, and made me sing Billie's songs note for note, breath for breath. I mean, volumes of them. And then when I was done with that, she made me sing the Lester Young solos.
Wow.
Of course, my syllable work wasn't so good, so she had me sing and listen to Ella Fitzgerald, who was the queen of scat, of course. And I'll tell you, writing down the do-be, wait a minute. I can never get it. I can never get it right. But I learned quite a bit, and I'm grateful for that. And then I went on, I found another teacher, Katie Gresta, who taught me about vocal therapy, about health care for the voice, and how to retrain my strength, to have vocal strength. Not to tell me, you don't sing this and don't sing that, because within what I do, blues or rock or dance or whatever is a slightly pushed style. So within that, I learned this other thing from this wonderful teacher, Katie, who is alive. Betty Scott has passed. So I was fortunate to study early on, and learning Billie Holiday songs and the Lester Young solos taught me to stand firmly in the center of the rhythm and put everything around me, which is I spent my career doing that.
Do you feel that this sort of training and understanding is partially responsible for the longevity you've enjoyed since the 80s?
Well, I started in the 70s. And I was always going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yes, the training has helped me enjoy longevity. The training of my ear, learning how to count, learning the intervals. Yes, that has helped me. Learning the vocal therapy, that has helped me. Learning how to speak again, that has helped me. I'm still learning how to speak. But my stubbornness and maybe blind stupidity and not even caring is really what got me here. I listened a lot to what people had to say. Maybe that was a fault of mine. When you listen too much and you know this is what you need to do in your life, and you get sidetracked because you want to please, and then you come back to the same stubborn, goat-headed person you were when you started, when everybody said, you suck. And it's like, no, I don't. I'm great. Whether you are or whether you're not.
Of course.
It's really the perception of yourself and where you see yourself going. And for me, I don't care. You know, you can't please everybody. But at one time in your life, you better start pleasing yourself. And you better start making music that you were born to do. You know, some people are put on the planet to do something. We all are. And when you know that's what you have to do, you best do it, because you'll always be at odds and in contrast with where you're supposed to be. So I'm supposed to be here. And I believe there are no accidents in the world.
How does
So says that's my Andy Rooney corner. I'm so sorry.
how does going back, you know, as much work as you've put out over the last 30 years?
Well, I didn't get any work out until the 80s.
82 is 82 Girls One Hour.
80. Oh, 83.
83. Okay.
But 1980 was Blue Angel.
Right. Okay.
We were going, not going, but I thought we were going.
And then you come out with this amazing album.
Oh, thank you. Did you hear it?
In 1983, of course.
Oh, that. Oh, I thought you meant this album. Oh, I didn't know. I thought you liked this one. Okay.
No, I'm talking back. I'm not saying I don't like this one.
But you know, in that album when it came out, some people loved it, and some people were like, well, I give it a 3. You know.
Well.
But I didn't care.
Because any album that has a hit single on it, people sort of dismiss. Girls just want to have fun, but then songs like Time After Time just sort of solidified your voice as more than a pop star.
And then She Bop confused them again, because that made people think I was just a wanker. But
so how?
Sorry, I can't help myself. You know, I try and be serious, but then
no, I don't want you to be serious. Right. How does that play into? Do you ever get tired of playing those songs or hearing about, you know, hearing out people like me asking you about it? Or is it something that you consider a very important component to your work as an artist?
Well, I didn't want to do that song when I first heard it. But then Rick Chertoff said, think of what it could be. So then I was like, got excited. Which is how he felt about the whole album. In the whole She's So Unusual album, we took songs and I arranged them with them around my voice, in the right key. And it was really, we were making a sound like a band. You know, Rob Hyman and Eric Bazillion had a band, the Hooters. Mm-hmm. Not what you think. They meant melodica, but, you know. I thought they were an awesome band. And they still play, which, you know, they're great.
All you zombies.
Right? And they did this reggae thing. So great. I mean, Rob had an extensive reggae collection. He loved it. And I kept hearing the beat of the street was enthralling to me. And it really, I loved it. I kept my ear to the cement practically. I loved what was happening in New York at the time. And I loved the sound of the snare and the drum. And I loved the Clash, and I loved new wave and punk and Elvis Costello, and I was out with Joe Jackson. I opened for the Human League, who I loved, but they hated me. But it was when I was in Blue Angel, and I sang I'm Gonna Be Strong, and no matter what, when I worked with those guys, they always said, you know, I said, but imagine if you could take that beat and then just really sing over it. And then they turn around and look at me, well, that's not the point, is it? And, you know, so I think, okay. But I did it anyway. I didn't care. Which is part of my goat-headedness. You know, if I have an idea, I want to do it. I want to try it. It's a science project, but it could work out. You never know. And I always say, stupidity and brilliance are always walking hand in hand. You know, it's either genius or the most ridiculous thing you ever heard in your life. But if you don't try it, how are you going to know? And who's to say? And if you hear it in your head like that and you keep hearing it, then you got to try it. So I took the reggae thing, and I took, in Blue Angel, John Torrey, my partner at that time, played me these old songs by Shirley and Lee. Because, I said I was in the cover band. They didn't do so good. Mm-hmm. Because I had to sing like Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith, and I love them. But I don't sound like them at all. No. So that was like a problem. And then he played me these songs of these singers that I kind of did sound like Brenda Lee. I never really heard Brenda Lee. I don't know what I was listening to as a kid. The Beatles, the Supremes, I loved them. And so then I just said, let's put the whole thing together. Let's take all these styles and kind of put it together. And that's how the arrangement of Girls started to happen, like that. And then I just changed a few pronouns and made edits and called Ellie Greenwich in. That wasn't me, that was Rick Chertoff. And Ellie Greenwich wrote that line, girls, they want to have fun. Girl, and she kept saying, Sin, use your accent. Which I've been trying to ditch for a while, but it'll never go. Anyway, so, we did that song, and I asked my mother to be in the video because, and we were going to have somebody else, but then I realized my mother would do it, but my mother would do it and think of what it would mean if my mother did do it. If my mother was in the video, and it was humorous. So we had Captain Lou, because I wanted Captain Lou, not Gorgeous George. Because I knew Captain Lou. I wanted him to do a commercial for me for Blue Angel. I met him on an airplane. I explained the whole thing. Then he said, hey, NRBQ, they wrote a song for me. And I said, well, this would be kind of like a commercial. So then my manager at the time, he loved wrestling. So it all kind of converged in one spot. It worked out. And I don't look at that song. I look at that song that I'm so grateful that Robert Hazard wrote that song. I'm so grateful that Rick Chertoff insisted, because it brought women together. And when we did the video, I went to Ed Grouse and I said, listen, I don't want to be a pain in the butt, but as you know I am. Just, we should have multiracial people here, so that all girls want to have fun. So that every time a girl looks at herself, looks on screen, she can see herself. So white girls, black girls, Asian girls, Spanish girls, whoever, just mix them up, get them all in there. We called all our friends, we got everybody in. Because New York is multiracial. And because the people I wanted to speak to was everybody. Because if you're going to do it, and you're going to bother climbing to the mountain, have something good to say. So I'm glad that I did that. And yes, do I still do it? Yeah, you ought to hear the blues version of it now.
Well, I can't wait. Well, thank you very much. This was a pleasure to talk to you. And I wish you a lot of luck with the record.
Thank you.